Let's back again, check in back again with the best political panel in the business. Jonathan Tasini, let me start with you as a Sanders supporter. This accusation from the Sanders campaign that there's something untoward that the Clinton campaign is doing with the Democratic National Committee in this fundraising. The DNC says, hey, we offered to set something like this up with the Sanders campaign as well. It's the way to support down-ballot Democrats running for the Senate, running for the House, and even in state houses and such.
And so let's talk a little bit more about what Jeff said. You can then take the money, you can give $2,700 to the individual campaign. The DNC can take a chunk, and then you can give, I think, $10,000 to each of the state campaign committees. What the Sanders campaign is saying is that millions of dollars are being used in an indirect way to actually support Hillary Clinton's fundraising efforts, and they're saying that that's not the proper issue. And that'll be up to FEC, the experts, the lawyers, to decide if that's correct or not.
Governor Granholm, here's what Larry Noble with the Campaign Legal Center told Think Progress. Quote, they, meaning the DNC, really are throwing their weight behind a particular candidate. Their argument is usually that it helps the party generally, but the practical and legal reality is that it benefits Hillary Clinton. You just don't expect this kind of thing to happen in the primaries. People are pushing the envelope further and further until it shreds.
First of all, that is total BS. What happens is that she raises money, $10,000 per state. There are 32 states who are part of this joint fundraising agreement, and that they put that to work electing local Democrats. This attack by Bernie Sanders, filing a lawsuit by Bernie Sanders, is really, it's an attack on the Democratic Party. I mean, the question is, we have to support these local, we have to support these local races. We've got to support these local Democrats. She doesn't get any more than the $2,700 per individual donor that's allowed by law. And the suggestion that she is doing something improper just as an extension, again, of the personal attacks that the Bernie Sanders campaign have been waging, which to me is terrible strategy if you look forward to the general election. If you look forward to the general election, it is as though Bernie Sanders' team is singing off of the Republican playbook, and that is very dangerous.
So what I said was, and I want to emphasize, the issue at hand here with the fund is that there are potentially millions of dollars, not the money going to the state, that are being used to help Hillary Clinton fundraise separately. Let's find out if that's true. But I want to add one other thing. Part of the reason this is coming up is because, with all due respect, the DNC has not been even-handed here. And it goes back to the question of when there were the whole debate over debates. There's no question, I'm sorry, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who in my opinion is in my generation, or last generation, one of the most incompetent chairs of the DNC, has tried to put her finger on one side on behalf of Hillary Clinton. And the whole idea, when we tried to get a lot of debates when the campaign started, and the Clinton campaign did not want that, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz did everything possible to schedule the debates when nobody was watching, which was foolish because we wanted to expose the population to Democratic values. I think that should be seen in the context.
Anna and I are enjoying this.
People don't trust, many people don't trust the way the DNC is operated, separate aside from the way the governor described the particular issue. I think that's at heart the issue.
And Governor, let me give you the last word, but I also just want to paraphrase the pollster for the Clinton campaign who says that Bernie Sanders is acting like a potential Ralph Nader, a spoiler. Do you really believe that?
Well, I mean, Bernie Sanders came into this race saying he was not going to be Ralph Nader, and he chose to be a Democrat because he believes in the values of the Democratic Party, and I totally believe that that's true. And I firmly believe that in his heart, if he sees no path, he is going to fully embrace the Democratic ticket. And you believe that too, I'm sure, right? Because you don't want to have, now in the poll that was done today, there was some 40% of Bernie Sanders supporters who say they will not vote for Hillary Clinton. He's got to be helpful with those if, in fact, he is not the nominee. In the same way that if he were the nominee, she would make sure that all of that money she was able to raise went to benefit him, that he actually got the benefit of her supporters. So my guess is that eventually we'll see that. If it's too late, though, then he does become the Ralph Nader.
Jonathan, I'm sorry.
About the Ralph Nader thing, though, that was thrown in just at the end. I have to say, Bernie Sanders has been part of the Democratic caucus in the Senate and the House, was chair of the Veterans Committee when he was in the Senate.
Yeah.
He is no Ralph Nader. He has been a solid supporter of the Democratic Party.
Good, and he's got to prove it.
Everybody stay with me.